Durham, North Carolina, March 5. Zion Williamson, Duke 171-70, photo by Grant Halverson, Getty Images. The 2019 NBA Draft takes place on June 20 and the lottery for the draft is on May 14. There will be much anticipation between now and then, with new lottery rules, exciting prospects, and tanking teams competing for the first pick. The Chicago Bulls could be involved in this discussion too. Although this season is far from over and the outcomes of the final standings and which ping-pong balls are chosen first are quite a ways away, it is time to start seriously looking at how the 2019 draft will shake out for the league. More specifically, we can look into the Chicago Bulls. This 2019 NBA draft mock-up is based off of current standings. Mind you that, in the new NBA lottery rules, each of the bottom 3 teams in the league have an equal chance at the first overall selection at 14% odds, while the fourth worst record has a 12.5% chance at the first pick, and so on. As the Chicago Bulls are currently slated to pick number 4, this article will indulge in what the team could be looking at option-wise on draft night. Also, how the players chosen before their pick could fit on a Bulls squad and some alternative options at the 4th overall spot. Here's a look at where the Chicago Bulls could go with the selections at hand for the 2019 NBA Draft with how things look in early March during the 2018-19 regular season. Next, how the first round shakes out. Page 2 SYRACUSE, February 23. Zion Williamson, L, of the Duke Blue Devils celebrates a three-point basket with teammates against the Syracuse Orange during the second half at the Carrier Dome on February 23, 2019 in Syracuse, New York. Duke defeated Syracuse 75-65, photo by Rich Barnes, Getty Images. With the first pick in the draft, the Suns land an athletic freak in Zion Williamson. The 6'7" and 285-pound power forward is as good of an athlete as we have seen since LeBron James. As far as pure basketball skills go, no, he is not close to the level James was on coming into the NBA. However, Williamson's physical attributes will have general managers scurrying to find a way to trade up for the first pick. Although I had many doubts about Williamson coming into college, and still have some coming into the NBA, he has managed to put on a phenomenal freshman season at Duke. He averaged 21.6 points, 8.8 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.8 blocks, and 2.2 steals in 28 minutes per game, while putting up an incredible 68.3% field goal percentage. His height may be a problem at the power forward position in the NBA, but his weight and athleticism can likely compensate for it. His shooting and ball handling also needs some work, and the team could also look to go with a much-needed point guard here. But Williamson is too talented of a player to pass up. Zion will fit nicely into a lineup of insert point guard here, Devin Booker, T.J. Warren, Williamson, and DeAndre Ayton. With this addition, maybe Phoenix can attract a good point guard, Kemba, and start to get out of their long rebuild. As for the Chicago Bulls' Williamson, the team does not need a power forward. With the emergence of Otto Porter Jr., they may not even need a small forward. If Chicago landed the first pick had a shot at Williamson, one would think that Garpax would have no choice but to take the best overall player, rather than going for a positional need. Next, second overall pick and beyond. Page 3 Durham, North Carolina, March 5. R.J. Barrett, Duke 171-70, photo by Grant Halverson, Getty Images. If the lottery odds stack up like this, the city of New York is going to be absolutely devastated. The hopes of a new Big Three of Williamson, Durant, and Irving would be without Zion if they were to slide to anything but the first pick. However, R.J. Barrett is a phenomenal consolation prize. With all the hype around his Duke teammate, Barrett has been severely overlooked. A very good scorer and a player who can get his teammates involved, Barrett has superstar potential written all over him, just as Williamson. In his freshman season at Duke, the Canadian standout has posted 23.1 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 4.2 assists in 32 minutes of action per game. The 6'7" lefty is an offensive machine, who can get to the rack almost at will, evident in his over 50% effective field goal percentage. Barrett also has a nice advantage of being able to play both the 2 and 3 positions at a high level. RJ is a very polished prospect, however, he is still not a complete player. He is nothing special on the defensive side, though his physical stature shows that there is potential. Additionally, his three-point shooting has not been great so far in his collegiate career. Nonetheless, the Knicks would be taking the best player available here in Barrett, as they would hope he is enough to draw in the free agent stars that they gave so much up to make room for. Chicago Bulls would be ecstatic to land RJ, as he would be a longer-term solution at the 3. In addition, if the Bulls were to land him, they could experiment with a small ball floor spacing lineup with Dunn at the point, Levine at the 2, Barrett at the 3, Porter Jr. at the 4, and Markkanen at the 5. Barrett would certainly be a great option for the Bulls if he were to be available when their name is called. Page 4. Duke's Cam Reddish 2, drives around Wake Forest's Isaiah Mucius 1, during the first half at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, North Carolina, on Tuesday, March 5, 2019. Ethan Hyman, Raleigh News. The team could look to go with Ja Morant here, however, I would be surprised if they opted to go with a point guard in this year's draft and move Sexton to the 2 spot. In this sort of spot, it may be smart for the Cavs to trade down a bit, as there is an abundance of wings in this draft that have not separated themselves from the pack. However, for simplicity's sake, they will go ahead and take the talented Reddish. As one of the best high school recruits in the nation, Cameron Reddish has underperformed as a Blue Devil. The reason for this could be just a lack of possession and touches, as he plays on the same as the top 2 selections in this mock. Nonetheless, Reddish is the ideal mold for a modern NBA player. He is a phenomenal athlete, has a nice outside stroke, and his 6'8" frame along with a 7'1" wingspan aids his great defensive abilities. In other words, the 19-year-old is a model prospect for a 3. For the Bulls, depending how the lottery shakes out, Reddish is an extremely real possibility. His three-point shooting, defense. Next, 4th pick for the Chicago Bulls, page 5. RICHMONDKY, February 16, Ja Morant. Photo by Michael Hickey, Getty Images. If the lottery order stays this way, the Bulls would have to be stoked. With their recent play, it is highly unlikely that they will get 14% odds at the 1st pick, and Ja Morant falling to the 4th pick would be a dream come true for the Bulls. The team has finally addressed its gap at the small forward spot and will look to address the point guard position. Unlike the first 3 selections in this mock, Morant was not a highly recruited prospect, playing at the small program at Murray State. He also varies from the Blue Devil trio in that he is a sophomore. However, he is young for his class, as he does not turn 20 until August. Ja has put up unreal numbers at Murray State, averaging 24.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, 10.3 assists, 1.9 steals, and 0.8 blocks on just shy of 50% shooting. Morant possesses great athleticism, being able to get to the rim with ease and can jump out of the building. The Murray State standouts have some question marks with him. Morant playing against small school competition may be concerning, but if Murray State can get a tournament bid, he may be able to prove that his play will translate against top competition. Morant's biggest problem is his shooting from beyond the arc, which has not been good in his collegiate career. However, neither of these should deter the Bulls from snagging him. If the draft were to end up in this way, the Bulls' starting lineup could look like next season: PG Ja Morant 20, SG Zach LaVine 24, SF Otto Porter Jr. 26, PF Lauri Markkanen 22, C Wendell Carter Jr. 20. The way I see it, the opportunity to select Morant is best case scenario for Chicago. Morant fills a very clear need at the 1, and allows Chicago to focus on bringing in pieces to fix an atrocious bench. Next, other first-round options. Page 6. Los Angeles, California, November 11, Darius Garland. Photo by Cassie Athena, Getty Images. Here, we will take a look at some other options that the Chicago Bulls should be looking at if they decide not to go with Morant with the 4th pick. Again, the Bulls' options very much depend on where in the draft they land, so all of this is very subject to change come May. Darius Garland, E. Vanderbilt University. Darius Garland is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. A highly recruited high school player, Garland's freshman season at Vanderbilt was cut short due to a torn meniscus. In mere 5 college games, Garland put up averages of 16.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 2.6 assists on 53.7% shooting in 27.8 minutes per game. In addition, Garland shot a blazing 47.8% from 3 on over 4.5 attempts per game. Aside from the obvious knee worries, Garland can be criticized by his lack of distribution skills so far. If the Bulls were to be set on Garland, they would most certainly not take him at 4th overall. He is projected to be a late lottery pick and could be a good option if the team wants to address the point guard position and Morant is off the board. Nasir Little, F. University of North Carolina. Nasir Little has a similar story to Reddish, as a very highly rated high school prospect who has failed to show out in college but is still regarded as having very high potential. In only 18 minutes per game under Roy Williams, Little has posted very non-impressive numbers of 9.6 points and 4.6 rebounds per game, shooting 47% from the field. NBA scouts will not be looking at what he has done at UNC, but his high ceiling to be an elite NBA player on both sides of the floor. His defensive potential is what is most intriguing. Similar to Garland, the Bulls would be unlikely to take Little 4th overall, as he has been projected to go anywhere from later in the top 10 to the mid-20s. Little would be a great defensive staple and a nice project for Jim Boylen to work with, but would surely not be a starter or even an everyday player for some time. Romeo Langford, G. Indiana University. Romeo Langford is another one of my favorite players in this draft class. A pure scorer, Langford would be a great bench addition behind Levine and replacement for former 6th man Bobby Portis. In his freshman season at Indiana, Langford is averaging 16.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.8 blocks in 29 minutes per game on 45.2% shooting. His three-point shot is awful as of now, but his ability to get to the bucket compensates for it. Next, 3 best Chicago Bulls 2019 NBA Draft PF targets. Projected to be a top 10 pick in June, Langford could end up rising to the 4th spot, but it is not likely. He is again someone the Bulls would set their eyes on if they decide to trade down.